cool.
Unlimited. Hi guys. So today I really wanted to talk about Glinda, the Good Witch. And if you didn't know or whatever, obviously I loved Wicked. I made 2 videos so far. I'm probably going to make more videos about it because the movie was just that good. And I feel like there's so much to talk about and like kind of peel back for the movie. Okay, so this video today is going to be about how Glenda is not really the villain that you think she is. So online, I've seen like a lot of conversation about like Glenda just being, bad. She's a terrible friend. She's a terrible person. Now, there's some truth to that. Like I said, it's multiple layers to this character, especially in this video. I'm going to try to cover all of them. But I don't think it's as clear cut as people are trying to make it seem that, okay, she's a fake, she's a phony, she's a bad friend, and that's it. I don't think it's that clear at all. So let's start with the most obvious, right? Yes, Glenda is selfish and self-centered, and she is a little bit opportunistic, basically, right? You could argue that Glenda only cares about any of this stuff because it affected Elphaba and because Elphaba was her friend. Like, if on her own, Glenda wouldn't care about the animals. She wouldn't. We know this, right? So when she saw everything happening, she didn't care. Even when they got all the way to the Wizard of Oz, she was telling Elphaba, just let it go, just say you're sorry. So she's definitely one of those people who, she's not a fighter. She's not going to stand on the front line. She's not going to put herself in harm's way. If something does not like directly affect her, she's not going to get involved. I think she's made that very clear. I think her character, especially in the beginning, is very mean. She's very mean-spirited, and she's one of those people who she thinks she's a good person, but she's actually really horrible. Like, she thinks she's good, and she's not really good. And the people around her enable that, right? So her parents are rich, I think. From what I saw, it seems like her parents were somebody, right? I don't know if she is a princess, or I don't know about all that, but it seems like she has like a lot of influence from her parents, from money and things like that. So she's not one of these characters that's like, she's very privileged. You know what I mean? She comes from a wealthy family and she's going to this really nice school. And it seems like she kind of expects everything to get handed to her. And I remember her mentioning something about the governor. So maybe her dad's like the governor of like the town or whatever. I don't remember exactly because remember this movie has not been released on like, streaming yet. Okay. So I've only seen it in theaters, no notes. Glenda is also manipulative and she uses people. Like the guy from Munchkinland, she really manipulated him. She knows that he has a crush on her. She knows that he feels this way about her. And so she kind of uses him and like gets him out the way, like when it's convenient. And that's just one example. But also when Fiyero, I feel like I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name. She, even though like we want to placate it as like nothing, like, you know what I mean? She moves herself in the right place and stuff like that. She kind of manipulates people and manipulates like the situation to put herself at the forefront at all times. Now you could argue that like, okay, that's what people are going to do, that this is what happens or whatever. Like everybody's always going to put themselves first. But regardless, it is still like manipulative. Now we see with Elphaba, she was being very hard on Elphaba. She's very jealous of Elphaba. And it's only when Elphaba kind of extends that olive branch and does Glenda a huge favor, something she really, really wanted so badly, that all of a sudden Glenda changes, right? And maybe it is a change, because I feel like that scene where they were dancing together, I don't feel like it was just her being like, okay, I want to use Elphaba and manipulate her. I think she genuinely made a friendship with her. I think in that moment, it did something for her. It made her change how she was thinking and viewing Elphaba. Right now, someone doesn't change overnight. So Glenda still has all of these beliefs about their society, their little world or whatever. And it's not going to change overnight just because she's friends with someone. Also, one last thing. I don't know if that's considered ableism, but her correcting that goat is Glinda. And I know she later changed her name to Glenda out of, once again, a fake, I don't even know the word for it. But basically, when it boils down to it, Glenda really doesn't care about anything if it does not affect Glenda. She doesn't really care. She's kind of like only outer shell. She's not really that deep about it. She doesn't really care. Like I said, with the whole changing her name to Glenda, it was just to appear like she, she cares and she changes, because Fiyero seemed like he cared about that in Elphaba, right? Now that brings me to the big ending, right? Where they're both with the grimoire, they're at Oz, and clearly Glinda is telling Elphaba not to go. You know what I mean? To say she's sorry, to take it all back, to just placate like all of this that happened didn't happen, and that that basically just pretend and go along with whatever the wizard says. But Elphaba is literally at the point where she's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't lie. I can't pretend. She's literally at the point where she's like, I cannot live like this anymore. I'm done living like this. I refuse to live like this. Glenda, on the other hand, is more like she would just like to keep her friend. And then now they both get, now that she's friends with Elphaba, and Elphaba can read the grimoire, Elphaba would probably get a higher status, which means, Glenda would probably get higher status being her friend and more opportunities. So I think that's where Glenda's mind is at the time. Now, in the end, when Elphaba decides to leave and Glenda doesn't, I think we could have two different thoughts about that, right? So Glenda, technically, yes, you could argue that she's a villain in all of this. You know what I mean? Yeah, that she is a jerk. She's mean, like I said, and all of this. But I also think, what if, like for Glenda, you're asking her to throw away her entire life? I think we need to be honest. There's a lot of people in real life that would not be willing to do that, that aren't going to do that. It doesn't matter what, because it's their comfortability, right? Glenda, as we saw when she tried to change the dress, she has no real power. So she would be going out there for what? She would be leaving everything she knows, basically banishing herself. And it's like, you're not having enough time to think about this. Like, no, girl, give me some more time to like think this through before you just tell me we got to go. And with Elphaba, I totally see Elphaba's point of view. She's like, girl, we know these people are bad and they're evil and they're trying to take this book. Like, we need to get up out of here. Come with me. Like, we don't like, you know what I mean? She's saying like, come with me. And clearly Glenda is like, no, I'd rather stay. And Glenda has, like I said, no real magical powers. Her only power is her popularity, right? Her only power is like the societal social status thing. And if she left, she would essentially have nothing at all. She would have nothing and no one. And, I think it's also interesting. I seen like with the song No One Mourns the Wicked going viral, there's been discussions about her singing that song about herself. Like she considers herself to be wicked. And she considers herself to be alone because now she has no friend. And now she, she's back in this world that maybe by now her mind is now changed or shifted about it, right? She's viewing all these people cheer about her best friend being dead. And now she's having to pretend. And like I said, I don't know. So I didn't watch number 2. They didn't put out the movie yet. So I don't really know where her mind is. But I'm just going based off what I think is happening. It appears like Glenda is sad, but she has to kind of play along. If anything, it may benefit them or whatever that one of them, that Glenda is still in society. Because if not, they would be so far removed, you know what I mean? And have no clue really what's going on back home. And maybe that's what Glenda was thinking as well. And honestly, I don't think she was probably thinking that far ahead. I think she probably was like, okay, I don't want to throw away my whole life and everything I known just because you feel a way about animals. Glenda probably doesn't care about animals. She doesn't have any animal friends. She doesn't have any animal family. And it's not going to affect her personally. So to her, I think it's probably just, okay, I'm not going to go. What I am really interested about, and I would love to hear your thoughts on, is she a villain or not? Do you consider Glenda to be a villain, or is it just like it's how it looks? But overall, that's mainly where my thoughts are at right now. I do probably plan on making more videos about this, going over these topics and stuff because it really interests me. So please make sure to comment how you feel about this. Let me know what you think about Glenda, the whole situation, and any other movies or videos or TV shows you feel like it would be a good idea for me to like talk about or review. And yeah, make sure to like and subscribe, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.